What's happening, people? Shay here. Only bounce up you guys are well. So off the back of the first test of the summer, joining me to discuss the opening test, as obviously was ended up in a draw, I've got Simon Banerjee and Joe Nutty Nuttall from the County Cricket Podcast joining us for this one. As I said before, obviously England New Zealand ended up in a draw. We had obviously one day completely washed out, day 3. On Friday was completely washed out, and actually it was quite a good end to the game. Actually, I mean, there might have been a bit of sniff for chance New Zealand to kind of sneak a win, but I think ultimately it was always going to repeat into a draw, especially with Dominic Sibley opening up for England. Chance are pretty minimal in it. The way he kind of sat down and knuckled down and got on with it. But anyway. I said we'll kind of get into it straight away. I'll probably, Simon, I'll come to you from the Zealand stuff, and Joe, obviously, I'll speak to you regarding England. So, Simon, I'll start, obviously, Devon Conway, a lot's been made of him and his ability in the T20 format, but makes his debut at Lords, not opened the batting in any form of cricket since 2014. First class cricket since 2014, actually, which is quite incredible. Opens up against Braun Allison, two of the greatest bowlers of all time, and goes a double 100 at Lords. I mean, absolutely incredible. I mean, Si, what did you make of, obviously, Devon Conway's knock?
Well, before this, also in the first live stream, I told you that he's the one guy who can take the game absolutely away from England, right? And I knew that he'll do something like that because he had got an average of, I think, 80 in ODIs and 59 in T20s before entering the test room.
Sorry.
No, surprisingly, he didn't. Surprisingly, he didn't get it. Yeah. So, and see, the best thing about him is that he's got patience. Not only, like, you could have seen that there were wickets stumbling around him, right? Williamson, then I guess Nichols was there for a while, but then he stood his ground along with the tail enders, along with Wagner. He completed his double century, and the way he just flicked it out for when he completed his century, right? He just flicked it off broad, I guess. What a brilliant player. I mean, that's the caliber of player England needs right now.
Well, to be fair, I mean, we had our own little agenda of an opening batsman in this test match. So Rory Burns came in hot of heels, off some really good form for Surrey, averaging over 61, I believe, in 7 matches. Obviously, a big story against Middlesex in the London Derby. I always really look at people, when I look at a batting lineup and someone who's made a very good score, I look at the other batsmen around him and what they've done. The highest score after him, I believe, was Robinson with 42. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so that, to me, is obviously him coming at number 8. That's a guy who's adjusted to the conditions and done really, really well. It's a high-quality knock. It's not a case of he scores 100 and 3 other people have done the same thing. It's not Ian Bell, esque type knock, especially Ian Bell's start of his career. I hate to think of Ian Bell, but I can't help that. I always do kind of use that as a bit of a stick to beat him with. But I look at Rory Burns. Was it 133 scored in total?
32.
132. Yeah, I mean, it was a really good knock, as I said before. Obviously, it's all I guess what 90 odd runs go into the third innings, but it was a classy knock. And I mean, Joe, obviously, Rory Burns hasn't been under pressure. I mean, he came into this test series averaging under 31. And we'll come to that a little bit later about the 30 club, we want to call it that. But what was your kind of opinion on Rory Burns? There's a bit of pressure on him. Obviously, no Stokes in the top 5, so Burns obviously played. What did you make of his batting, though, in that first innings?
Yeah, I think probably looking at that top 5, let's say top 6, including Dan Lawrence. Aside from Joe Root, Rory Burns is the most senior batter. I think it was the way he played. Obviously, he's been in great form for Surrey. Personally, for me, he's one of my favourite players, Rory Burns. I'm a massive fan of him. I think that 100 that he got at Edgbaston against Australia, I think that's for me when I knew he could be a great test opener. And obviously, he got 80 in South Africa, was it, before he got injured? I want to say something around that.
The first test.
And then he obviously got injured, which gave Crawley a chance, but he got out pulling, I think, and I feel like that's an area of his game he's worked on. And I think this innings from Rory Burns that shows why he should be in the side, because everybody hits bad form, right? Joe Root would have hit bad form, Stokes would have hit bad form, Williamson, Smith, Cawley, so everyone hits bad form, regardless of how good of a cricketer they are. Everyone will hit good form, everyone will hit bad form. Rory Burns been through his the latest period of bad form now. Kind of India, Sri Lanka, although he didn't play Sri Lanka to be fair, but kind of India series was his bad form and back end of last summer at times. And now he's started the season really well with Surrey and has gone and got a massive 100, not a massive 100, but a good 100 at Lords. And I think lack of partners was really disappointing. As you say, Root and Robinson, they both got 42. Pope got 22. Sibley was poor. Lawrence was poor. Crawley that was really poor by Crawley. That was a really poor way to get out. So
I thought Broad almost stuffed him, to be honest with you. The shot he played. I thought he was going to run out of partners, and obviously Jimmy was there to support him and let Burns get his 100. The thing is, though, you say about obviously Rory Burns is lack of form. I want to kind of discount the India series, to be honest with you, because it made everyone look like an idiot. Lawrence and Pope 100%. And Sibley. If you take away the
probably other than Root, again, everyone was poor.
Everyone was terrible. Yeah, I mean, people battle a little bit like Stokes, etc. And we saw runs. Like someone said, he's got a few, and everyone chipped in on occasion, even Crawley. But it wasn't consistent enough in that series. But these kind of wickets, you'd imagine these players, or they're born and bred on these things, they should be performing a lot better. Yeah. The averages are a bit alarming, and Roy Burns kind of fits that category of just if somebody's not averaging enough. He's averaging he now has everyone done 32. But are we going to see now the best Rory Burns? He's almost 31 years old. He's an established player. He's been tipped as England captain potentially if Joe Root does relinquish the reins. Do you think that Rory Burns can go and kick on now and spend his place in that top two? Or is he going to be the one on the prayer? Well, he probably won't be now. But obviously, Crawley can also open the batting. When Stokes walks back into the side, which will happen, is that going to put a lot more pressure on Burns or someone like Ollie Pope go under the cosh? What do you think?
I can't see him dropping Ollie Pope. Personally, again, he made a great start to the season as well with Surrey. He obviously scored that double 100 in a Warwick game, wasn't it? And then that 100
Leicestershire 245 was it? And then the 130 against
Hampshire. Yeah, that's right. He got runs in a warm-up game, didn't he? He got 100 in a warm-up game as well.
He did, so, yeah. He made yeah.
So he's got 300s this season, including that. For me, Ollie Pope will play, regardless of who's around him. I think he's a class player. He's probably England's next Joe Root, pretty much. Not in the same category, maybe, but that kind of, player. So I think for me, the person who's under the most pressure is probably Zach Crawley, I would say. I think Dan Lawrence is kind of take it or leave it kind of thing right now in his stage of his career. I think he's a great player, but I'm not sure if
he played an absolutely terrible shot. The shot he played was disgraceful.
Yeah.
Lawrence's shot. Him and Crawley.
Yeah, definitely. But I guess Stokes will probably replace Lawrence. I guess you're looking at Butler to replace Bracey. Although I'm a massive fan of Bracey, I would like to see him battle the order. And then I guess you could argue Crawley drops out of the side. Don't know who for. I'd like to see Hasib Hamid get another shot. That's probably more if you drop someone like Sibley, who, again, I know he got 60 odd, but you couldn't have asked for a more perfect time for Dom Sibley to bat because that's what he's good at, is blocking. And that, not to sound harsh, that's just what that's genuinely what his strength is.
He just exhausts the bowlers.
Yeah, and that's good. That's good when you're surviving for like a draw like that, but it's not good when you're just playing normally or chasing. To be honest, I would have liked to have seen England chase. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute, but I would have liked to have seen England show a bit more intent. But I think probably Sibley or Crawley will be the two who could drop out the side. As I say, Hasib Hamid, I would love to see him back in the side.
I mean, that's an incredible story, that is Hasib Hamid. Obviously, it's bittersweet for you, Joel, he's a Lancashire fan.
But to be honest, he's still one of my favourite players. So it was sad that he don't play for Lancs, but he's not. Unless he goes to Yorkshire, there's not any side I'd hate him to be at. I think Nonce is a great option. So
I'm glad you mentioned Yorkshire, because one guy who's played for Yorkshire and stole the headlines, so unfortunately for the wrong reasons in this Test match now, is obviously Mr. Ollie Robinson. Now, I don't want to go into the whole racing thing, his comments, his tweets. I think that's, to be honest with you, it's been done to death. I was going to do a video on it and get a chance, but that's another podcast altogether. What I would say is this: Ollie Robinson, some piece of shit journalist, released that information on after what should have been the greatest day of Ollie Robinson's career. And I had to feel sorry for the guy a little bit, to be honest with you. That guy kept that information and just timed the release of it and really overshadowed what was actually a very good day of bowling for him. That being said, he came back on day 2, took another couple of wickets. In a pick of the balls, it was 4 for 75 he took of a day 2, and then he obviously hit 42 as well in his first innings to help England get above 200 and 250. I want to talk a little bit about talk about his character a little bit after what's happened to him, but about his cricketing performance really in this game. Obviously, he took 3 wickets as well, 3 for 26 in the second innings, took 7 in total for the match. We know that he's suspended pending an investigation. But Simon, just from a purely cricketing perspective, Ollie Robinson has been healthily touted in cricket for a long time, as Joe can tell you. Obviously, as somebody who studies the counter-cricket game. But what was your assessment really of Robinson with the ball and with the bat to a certain extent?
I felt he was brilliant with the ball. Like the spells he bowled, especially the hard lengths that he bowled, he was brilliant with that. Like I feel after Jofra Archer, I think was the last better pacer that made debut for England. I feel this one's gonna be a great one. However, saying that, also with the bat, he was brilliant. Like he gave a tough knock, of course. And I want to speak on the racism part a bit. The thing is, firstly, it's 8-9 years old, and there's no excuse for racism at all. But there are other cricketers around the world. For example, Babar Azam, there's Ishant Sharma, there's Jaws Butler, Owen Morgan. I feel in between all of this, Ollie Robinson's tweets just went viral, and that's why he's been made the scapegoat. This is the same as the Cricket Australia handling the Cameron Bancroft issue. It's just like that. I feel it's too much pressure.
Fair enough. Joe, I'll come to you. So if you want to talk about it, no problem. I really want to focus mainly on Ollie Robinson's performance on the pitch. Obviously, he's been someone who's been touted before for a number of years now. Was you pleased with his display, especially in light of what he's going through? Obviously, mentally, it must have been very difficult, but it really showed the character of the guy to turn up on day 2 after what's been said. And even when Tom Harrison, his comments gave him no support whatsoever as far as I'm concerned, to know that the powers that be when the ECB were not on his side, to turn up and took 2 wickets, the next day, and then took a score of 40. Was you pleased with Robinson's performance, and can you see him ignore this for now? Can he be part of the best quartet of fast bowlers going forward for England?
100%. He said before the match, and I thought this was very brave of him, he's going to get Kane Williamson out. And he did. And I'll tell you what, fair play. If you talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, and that's 100% what he did. I think I saw a lot of comparisons, and I 100% agree with this. Maybe he's a little bit of a different build to this person, but he's very similar in the way he bowls, and that's Josh Hazlewood. And I can 100% see Josh Hazlewood in Ollie Robinson. I think firstly, his T20 cricket has gone under. I know this is Test cricket, it's totally different, but even his T20 cricket has gone a bit under the radar. He started to play a lot more for Sussex now, last year in particular. So, that's kind of developing as well, as Hazlewood seems to be as well. Obviously, has had an IPL deal now recently. So, I mean, for me, Ollie Robinson is absolutely a future England, as you say, part of a quartet, a seam quartet. And it'll be interesting to see who else is involved in that, because Broad and Anderson, they're not going to be around forever. Broad is going to be around for longer than Anderson, I would like to think, because he's got age on his side. But realistically, you probably say Jofra Archer's in that as well, if he can stay fit. And then, really, I think the other 2 spots are up for grabs, to be honest.
Chris Wilkes, Mark Wood.
But they're also, getting it on a bit. Chris Wilkes is 33 or 32. Mark was 30.
He's 32 now, 32 in March.
So, again, they're not going to be around forever either. Sam Curran's another one who's involved in that. Ben Stokes is 30 now.
Yeah.
He's you're looking at, I don't know, 4 or 5 more years of him at his prime.
Yeah.
And then he'll be on the way down. So Sam Curran will probably be the natural replacement for him. But Saki Mahmood is somebody actually who I just got to get that in there. Love to see him involved in that 4 as well. But 100%. I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. What I'm trying to say is Ollie Robinson is a great bowler and has proved this week he's a great batter. He got 50 against Lancs, actually, in the Championship this season. And he's one of those players who's, when he's on your side, is great. But when you're playing against him, it's so annoying that you can't get him out. He's the kind of person who, he's not a proper all-rounder, but he's a really good batter, if that makes sense. And he's just the kind of person
English Pat Cummins.
Yeah, there you go, 100%. That's who he is. He's like Pat Cummins with the bat, Josh Hazelwood with the ball. So we'll go with that.
I think we'll be all right then, won't we, in the future? If that's the case,
no,
we should be all right.
No worries. Win the next 10 Ashes series or whatever. Because it seems to roll around so often this year. So.
Indeed. Well, yeah, I look forward to that in a few months' time. Someone also had an impact on that first things with the ball was obviously Mark Wood. I'm surprised that Mark Wood played to us. I would have probably gone with Ollie Stone, to be fair. He did well in that Chennai test. I think he went under the radar a little bit. And I think, Mark Wood, what he brings us that real X-Facts, pace option. I just thought that he would have been wrapped in cotton wool, primed for the Ashes, played T20 World Cup, made the odd white ball game to keep his legs fairly fresh. But they still seem as a fairly big component to that test squad. George, I'll go back to you quickly if you want to give me some thoughts on Mark Wood. And do you think his future then, his long-term future still remains in the test side, in all three formats? Or should they be thinking really now about just phasing him out of the test team and then moving more to the white ball arena?
Well, it's an interesting, wasn't it? It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because Mark Wood, as I said earlier, is 31 now. You've got Jofra Archer, I think Joffrey's 26. So he's got 5 years on him.
Yeah. Ollie Stone's 28.
Ollie Stone's 28. So I guess you've got three bowlers there who are really different stages of the career. But all three have had really bad injury problems. And I think all three, not as good as, Stone is nowhere near as good as Wood or Archer. He's a good bowler, but he's nowhere near as good. Could have been. If he stayed injury free, but he's not. Archer's the best out of those three comfortably. But you've got three very, very similar bowlers there, and I think a good way to look at it for England is almost as playing one role. So you've got one spot in the test side. Let's say they go for including Stokes. They go for Stokes, Broad, Anderson, a spinner, whoever that may be. That's a different debate, and a genuine fast bowler, like a genuine quick bowler.
Yeah.
I think England, that's a position that they can actually rotate. They've come under a lot of criticism for rotating. I think that's a position that they can rotate. And they can say, well, Joffrey's played the last 3 tests, we'll give him a rest. We'll save Wood for the World T20, so we'll bring Ollie Stone in for the next couple of tests. I think that is a luxury England can have, personally.
Thank you, Joe. Just quickly go to New Zealand. So, Signer, just discuss with you. Someone who doesn't seem to just seems to go on and on and on. A guy who's been around for 13 years, he's only 32 years old, is Tim Salvi. Obviously, took a 6 for.
He's only 32?
He's 32 years old.
He was about 35. Wow.
Yeah, he's going to be 33 every year.
Yeah,
this guy, I believe he made his debut in the 2008 series against England, and I think he was like 19. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was February 2008. He turned 19 the 2 months before in December, 2007. Crazy stuff. And the guy's still doing it. He's gone under the radar. I saw a stat recently. I think he's averaging under 20 for the last 3 years in Test cricket. And he seems to be getting more and more skillful with the ball. I always felt he's the kind of guy you can go after and kind of be the kind of the guy you can kind of look at the bowling line and think, okay, well, I can kind of wrestle a bit when Salvi comes on, but he's able to move the ball both ways, and he's getting more and more control. Even though he's bowling around 70, 80 miles an hour, he's a very formidable opponent, and he's one of the reasons why New Zealand are in this World Test Championship final. Si, what's your thoughts on Salvi and really high perform this Test match?
So basically, in this era of like Bumrahs, Pat Cummins, and the Ravadas, this guy goes under the radar mainly because of that he lacks a bit of pace, and also because he's overshadowed by his own teammate Trent Bolt. Right? Mm-hmm. But the thing which he possesses is accuracy. Like he can hit a dime from 60 feet away. Mm-hmm. I can guarantee that. And he also has the gift of swinging it both ways. That makes him even more lethal. He can drop the ball anywhere on the pitch you want, and he can swing it away or swing it into you. That's what made him lethal this test, right? I think England were 140 for 110 for 6 and for 1, and then they went to 140 for 6, right? And in between he took a 5-for, if I'm not wrong. I mean, that spell, I feel like it's one of the best spells of this year. So I feel that guy is massively underrated and he's massively underappreciated.
Do you think he's New Zealand's best bowler?
Without Trent Bolt or with Trent Bolt? I feel
With
New
Trent Bolt.
Zealand's
With Trent Bolt, yeah. Who's it?
Including Bolt, Jameson, Wagner,
All of them.
those guys, yeah.
Matt
I have an
Henry,
unpopular
shout out to
opinion.
Krishna.
Okay, no. So an unpopular opinion here. The best bowler of New Zealand is still Neil Wagner. It's because of him. Yeah.
No. What are you talking about, man? Wagner's not. Come on, man. You can't. Why are you saying he's the best bowler?
Wagner,
He's the best bowler in the sense that he creates the pressure around which these the bowls and the Saudis get the wickets. Right.
Wagner sets up batsmen so brilliantly, and then either gets them out himself or just leaves it for Saudi or Bolt. So to be honest, I do think I am a massive Trent Bolt fan.
When the world's best Test batsman says that he troubles you, you know he troubles you. Right. Steve Smith, not Williamson.
He was phenomenal, especially after what Steve Smith did to England a few months before 2019. The way Wagner roughed him up. Listen, I think Trent Bolt's their best bowler. What I would say about Salvi is he goes under the radar because he's a bit boring. The optics are a bit boring. He's line and length at that kind of pace.
He's very much. He don't get bored, does he? It's a common club cricket line. Don't get bored on that line and length, and Salvi doesn't. He just
hits it every single time, and the batsman will eventually just nick off. So when Trent Bolt, a left armer coming in, swinging it both ways, it's kind of pace. His action's very kind of flamboyant.
It's again like
lots happening at the crease. It's a great spectacle to watch. I don't look to Salvi goes right. Popcorn ready and watching him. Do you know what I mean? It's not a spectacle. It's not Dale Steyn or Brett Lee. It's Tim Salvi.
That's the thing.
Or Trent Bolt.
It's like I've got a perfect comparison for this. It's like in the Indian team, you've got Ishant Sharma and you've got Jasprit Bumrah, right? Bumrah's action, pace makes it like a treat to watch, but Ishant Sharma doesn't. That's why he goes under the radar. That's why many people on Twitter also say that they are selecting Mohammad Siraj over an Ishant Sharma. However, he is our best bowler, right? So it's kind of like that. Tim Southee. Maybe their best bowler, not according to me, but maybe their best bowler, but he goes under the radar due to a flamboyant Trent Bolt.
So what you're saying is Salvi needs a new action, is what you're saying.
Basically, I mean, what people do. We love cricket. You get like a stone, anything in your hand, it pretend like you're bowling. So say I'm out with a little one, and I got my ball in hand. I got like a wind ball with me, and I just when he's running around the cul-de-sac where I live, I just bowl. Even though I'm 38, I still like I'm 18 or I'm 12. I still do that, and I'm not kidding you. I think like a Mohammad Siraj. I pretend to bowl like him because I just love his action, the smoothness of it. I just love to I just do it.
So I think Booby's got a great action as well. If you're talking about smoothness of actions, I think Booby's the best.
Yeah, I know he is, but there's a big bustle and hustle and bustle about Mohammad Siraj. I mean, I just love to. I don't think people do that, don't they? He gets stoned in his bowl, and he pretend like he's
nothing wrong with doing that. Nothing wrong with doing that.
Yeah, I think that's a hardcore cricketer. That somebody loves the game like we all three do. I always do that. But my new one is Mohammad Siraj. That's my action I try and copy. Used to be Wakar Yunus. I used to try and copy Wakas. I've got it quite close to his chest, the ball. And it's like around.
Let me see some video footage of this on Instagram.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, you can watch me.
Like a side to side, you get like on the sky.
I'll get the one of the neighbours to take it. My little 3-year-old running around, and there's me bowling to the wheelie bin. I'll get a video of it, man. You guys can watch.
Shay, you want to be Mohammad Siraj unless there's Russell in front of you.
Nah, I'd go for the head, man. Then I go for the head, that mercenary piece of shit. Anyway, let's talk about Andre Russell, man. It's getting towards bedtime. I'm getting so angry now. I need to relax and sleep. Anyway, all right. Anyway, so I did a video on Andre Russell called "The Ultimate T20 Mercenary." So I set my stall out with Andre Russell a few months ago. Anyway, we're digressing here. So you got me going now. Thinking about cricket, my bowling. Anyway, I'm going to just move on a little bit. So we'll say here, unless actually, I just want to quickly touch upon obviously England's other debutant we had, Joe, which was James Bracey. He obviously got bowled by Salvi at first, and he did bat again, obviously. How did you feel he did with the gloves? Because I was saying in the first show that I think on paper, anyway, he could pose the biggest threat to Josh Butler's spot. I think Bairstow's time, I know you love him, I think his time has passed. I think he's going to be a wonderful... I think he's going to turn to be one of the greatest white ball cricketers that England have had. Somehow, I think he will turn to be that way in the breath of the, big time, man. Like he just sticks my mouth almost, you know what I mean? But I think he's a fantastic white ball batsman, but I think his days at batting 6-7 with the gloves are kind of over. I think Ben Foakes, I said last show, I've got a feeling with Ben Foakes, unfortunately, even as a Surrey fan. I don't think it's going to work out for him. I think the gods are relying against him. I just don't know what it is, man. I think there's something about Ben Foakes. We're never going to...
With that the injury he got and everything like that.
I just think something against him, man. I don't know where his face fits or the optics, and I think management have really been behind him, especially under Ed Smith. I don't know, something. And then now we like the freak accents, like, this is your opportunity, man. You had the two tests.
After him.
I just, you just get this feeling like it's not going to work for you now, mate. It's just not going to work out. You get that feeling, and I feel like James Bracey, 24 years old, top order batsman, bit of a makeshift keeper, but what do you think? How do you think he fared with the gloves, Joe, in this Test match?
I don't think he was incredible. Well, I guess it's good if you don't hear anything about a keeper. For example, when Butler was going through an awful time of it in last summer, and look, also it didn't help that Butler was up against Mohammed Rizwan, who, in my opinion, is an out-and-out gloveman, is probably the best in the world. Just off the top of my head, I might be overlooking someone. Well, him and Tim Payne, of course. But you've got Bracey, who nobody has mentioned his keeping, and maybe that's because the biggest talking point has been what's happened with Ollie Robinson, which obviously we won't go back into. But maybe that's because that's been overshadowed by Robinson. But I guess still no. I've not seen it on Twitter. I've not seen it on BBC Sport. Didn't see anything on Sky Sports really criticising Bracey's keeping. Sometimes you might get someone like Adam Gilchrist or something tweeting, could have done this better or whatever. But I didn't see anything like that, which is positive. So obviously, I think he only took one catch, didn't he, in the game? Am I right saying that? I'm going to quickly check.
I thought it was two.
He took one in the first innings, and he took three. So two in the second innings, one in the first. So
Salvi in the first one, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he did. As far as I know, I didn't watch every ball of the Test, but I watched enough of it to know he didn't put a foot wrong from what I saw. So I don't really think he can complain. At the same time, as I say, it wasn't incredible. Like, I didn't notice any particular incredible diving stops, but I just say he's a bit of a makeshift keeper at times. But I know for a fact keeping is something he likes doing and wants to do more because we've done a podcast with him. So I've kind of had this chat, and the keeping is definitely something he enjoys doing, or that's what I gathered anyway. So I think especially if England need a number 3, because I'm still not convinced Crawley is a number 3. I'm still prefer him at the top of the order, and as I said before, still not convinced on Dom Sibley. So if they decide not to go to Hasib Hamid, I'd like to see Bracey at 3.
Interesting. I think obviously England's still worrying about the number 3 position, aren't they? Really.
Also, just on Bracey, as I say, you can see actually when he's been taken out of the Gloucestershire team. I think he's missed 2 games and they've drawn and lost. So you can see before having only drawn once, or I think they only drew once when he was in the team, and then taken out of the team, and they've kind of lost that batting grit, I would say, at number 3. So yeah, I would definitely consider putting him at 3.
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, he's probably in the back of the queue, almost the back of the queue for number 3. I think there's a massive step up from where he's been, where he's played, to go 3 for England. I would kind of, I would see where. Thing is, he can't keep it. So you're saying basically he would bat at 3 and not keep. This is with Butler batting 7.
But he bats at 3 and keeps for Gloss. So why can't he do it for England? The other thing is, as well, I think he opened the batting in this particular game, but there's not much difference as he scored 80 in a warm-up game. I don't know if you remember. Team Stokes against Team Root or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was called. And he scored 80 and against Archer and Anderson, to name 2 of the bowlers. I think Robinson might have been on that team as well. So he's faced some high-class bowlers and scored runs. I know he didn't work out for him this week. That's fine. It happens. This is Test debut. I'd be very surprised if anyone wasn't nervous on the Test debut. I can't think of many people who wouldn't be. So, yeah, I think it happens, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's just you got a good ball, a good nut from a high quality bowler, and he just I won't say he missed a straight one, but he didn't do too much. But yeah, maybe nerves or whatever. It's his first his debut innings at Lords, a lot of pressure. But I think we should see how they treat Bracey going forward. I think he's just keeping the seat warm. I think for Butler, he can perform as well. He can score 100 next match. I still think Butler walks shit back in, to be honest. But we'll see.
Do you think that's good? Do you think that's right?
I think
Butler's not been incredible still. He's not.
Yeah, but he has so much currency in it, Joe. But he has so much currency. One swallow, someone does not make. Yeah, I think if he scores 100 in the next Test match, it's not justification to kind of have your main. I mean, they've persevered with Butler throughout a terrible time in 2019, and it worked out last year. Ed Smith, whatever he had on him, but Ed Smith persevered, and it worked out last year, and he performed very well. I'd like to have seen him in India for all 4 tests. We can see it anyway, whatever. I think Butler is very much part of the plans for the next 6 months of minimum. India and then particular Australia. I think he is going to be crucial, Butler, because I think he's someone. I think England will be under the pump massively. I think they will go. I think there will be 30 for 3, 50 for 4 on a cut, if more than one occasion, for sure. That fucking top order is getting wrecked by comments. Let's be honest, Joe. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I agree.
That top order is getting fucking wrecked. Here's one of the comments are licking their lips right now. You're telling me these guys, all of them, Matt, commented all of them. They must be just thinking this is fodder. Pope, Crawley, Sibley, Burns. The only one is Root. They're thinking we get Root and these guys are done. This top 7. So Butler's going to have to come in. I'm telling you now, Garrett, I put anything on it that Butler's going to walk in for 5 or something stupid, and he's the one who is capable of playing a counter-attacking innings and get us towards 200. But then we're going to think, oh well, we got something to bowl at, and then they're going to go probably score 500 for 3 declared or some shit. But anyway, that's for another day. But I just think Butler's got such a massive part to play in that series, and I think he's really a big part of that team that I don't think they're going to switch. Yeah, because I think he could score. He averaged 12 in the India series. To me, he still plays first Test in Australia. Yeah, he still plays because he's a big part of it.
He's proven in Australia. That's the other thing. None of these guys have played Test cricket in Australia or international cricket in Australia. I don't know if Butler's played Test cricket, but international cricket, Butler's proven there. So Dan Norris went to the Big Bash and failed. That's a fact.
Yeah, but he did well though for the Lions because Australia raid, didn't he?
True, but even so,
I think the pressure on Pope 23, Lawrence 24, Crawley 23 years old, Burns a bit older but he's still inexperienced. I think anywhere between 50 to 120,000 fans baying Australians, baying for England's blood, the media at them.
In the FCG.
I just really feel like that is going to show. I think Root is going to have the nuts to deal with it. I think Butler is. I think Ben Stokes is going to be incredible. I've got a feeling after what happened 4 years ago, I think this guy's going to be man of our series. I think because he is, first of all, that guy has got the biggest nuts at England side, times 10, all of them. He is not afraid of battle. We've seen it. Look at what happened in the 13-14 series. As a 22-year-old that's got 125 in Perth, when the rest of the guys felt like a deck of cards, was incredible. That knock is not, for me, talked about enough. What he did 8 years ago in the face of Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson.
It was
Yeah.
just
Stark just breaking through.
Oh,
Seeing
man.
his prime, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just incredible what he does.
Yeah.
22-year-old.
Yeah.
And I think what happened 4 years
100%.
ago. This is going to be the best Stokes we're going to see in Australia. We're going to see in 4 years'
I
time.
will say this:
But-
it won't be Ben Stokes' ashes. This will be Johnny Bairstow's ashes. Mark my words, this will be his ashes.
All right.
Johnny
All right.
Bairstow on quick bouncy pitches in Perth. Bairstow and Roy at the top of the order. Make it happen. That's what I'll say. Make it happen.
You're right. The only thing you got right there, man, is the colour of the hair. It's going to be the redhead that's going to triumph. It ain't going to be Johnny Bairstow, though, man.
I was messing about Roy and Bairstow opening, by the way, just to clarify. Although I did used to want them. So, and then I saw Roy opening Test cricket, and
yeah, that was one experiment too far, really. But anyway, okay, science. Sorry, man, we kind of just got off on a tangent there. I will come to because I think we need to. Unless you want to talk about anything a bit more about the test before we go to the preview of the second test. Is there anything else you want to discuss?
Williamson.
About what is in. Yeah, you go for it, Slime. Yeah, I think it's at 19 and 1 he scored.
Yeah, let me talk about it. He has got a home average of above 100 and an away average of 11 in the World Test Championship. How can he be number 1 in the world when you've got Steve Smith sitting right there? Okay, and what utter shit batting was that? Like, I'll be brutally honest. That's not how a number 1 performs. No. I mean, he was missing balls like anything. It's utter crap. What do you guys think?
No, I agree.
Joe, you go for it, man.
Yeah, I think I do think he's a class player. I will say that, but it is a bit. I never really pay attention to the ranking systems. I don't. Aside from Rashid Khan being the number 1 T20 bowler, which I think is fair. Like Mohamed Nabi, there's not a chance he's the best T20 all-rounder. There's not a chance. It's because he's playing more T20 cricket than anyone that is there. And Williamson plays a lot of Test cricket in New Zealand, which is probably why he's up there. But I do agree with you. Steve Smith is the best player in the world. In all, not in all formats, but multi-format. Consistently, he's the best. There's not a doubt.
Virat Kohli is my favourite player. I would say, but test wise, you can't look past Stephen Smith, as far as I'm concerned.
No one comes
close.
Yeah.
Marnus
is absolute class, despite his Glamorgan form. But then Baba Azam but Baba Azam, another class batsman as well. Listen, they're all great players. Kane Williams is a class player, Simon. I know he's not a great record in England, for example, but he's a top player, man.
I'm not saying he's a bad player. What I'm saying is he has a certain responsibility and he has a certain stature to maintain, right? You can't be playing those shit deliveries like that. No, please. Like, he was missing straight ones. What the hell?
I want to feed into the preview for the second test because obviously Kane Williamson looking very unlikely. Has he got a niggle? Is that what I read? I think he's got a niggle now.
Yeah, elbow.
Maybe yeah, which has happened before. That maybe his elbow was troubling him in the first test we didn't know about potentially. I'm not trying to play devil's advocate or defending the guy, but it could be true. Sign. I mean,
you never know.
You don't know. I think a lot of these guys
heavily criticised him. It turns out he's carrying a massive injury.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? It's like you potentially could have had Leon Orside could have been carrying something going.
Who's the vice captain? Salvi.
I don't actually know. Is it Salvi?
Or Watling, I would assume. One of those two. Because Watling's almost gone now, isn't he? He's only got 2 more tests left.
Two more tests, and he's done, isn't it? Yeah, 2 more tests. So I will. Yeah, I'm not sure who's going to take over if in his absence. Trent Boult, obviously, COVID protocols have relaxed his quarantine regulations, so he's now in line for a recall or to play.
I can see him coming in for Williamson, to be honest. And everyone moving up one because you got Santner. He's a good batter.
No, Santner's also injured. His fingers, the cut of his finger has opened up.
Oh, right.
I think they might play Boult for Santner and go with all-seam attack.
But they will do that then. I didn't realise Santner was injured.
There's Darryl Mitchell there. There's more of an over option. I'm not sure who the top order batsman options are.
I think they'll get another debutant in.
Who, sorry?
I think they'll get another debutant in.
Who?
No, not.
Rachin Ravindra.
You think he'll? What about is it Ajit Patel, the spinner?
Nah.
You don't think?
Good reaction.
No, actually, I have a reason also because Rachin Ravindra played really well in the warm-up matches. He scored a century, I guess, and he took 5 or 4 wickets. So he's a proper all-rounder.
I think New Zealand, though, I don't know they'll gamble necessarily sign on this and play like another debutant. I think they'll be going for the win because not for them, not for New Zealanders. Now they will absolutely desperate to win to go into that India series, that massive game for them with the victory under the belt.
True, but in the sense that
if they lose, that won't be good for them. It won't be good.
No, New Zealand also said, Stead said that they won't play all the pacers from the first test, right? So I'm expecting Wagner to drop down and maybe Saudi to drop down, right?
If they play weak inside, that is not a good move in my opinion. They do not want to go into that match having lost a test.
No, that's true.
I think that's not good for them. I think listen. There's 10 days of cricket, and then you can put the feet up for a while. So for me, I don't know how many guys are playing the Blast. That's in their test squad. I don't think very many. I don't think Ross Taylor's got a gig, has he? Ross Taylor's not got a gig.
No,
Who's Conway with?
Somerset.
Somerset is it? Yeah, but barring that, they go put the feet up. I think they need to win. I'd be playing a full strength side and going for it. England, I think they now we'll actually get to go to second, but I think New Zealand, if Williams doesn't play, they'll bring in a batsman. Dougie Bracewell might even be a shout. Bull, obviously, the Santner maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Because the batting outside of Conway didn't look that strong. No. It didn't look that great.
Ross Taylor, he really disappointed me, and he has done for a while now.
Yeah.
It's a bit. I don't know how old Ross Taylor is. I think he's
37.
37, yeah. So I think probably his days are numbered now in international cricket. He's a great player, but I think similar to Hashim Amla, in the sense that Amla kind of knew when the time was right, and he's now just making a great career of himself in domestic cricket. I can see Ross Taylor doing that. I can see him retiring from international cricket, playing as an overseas over here in our summer, and obviously as a domestic player in New Zealand in their summer and a couple of years.
I can see him going to coaching as well, like Amla. I can see Ross Taylor as a coach for sure.
Yeah, so could I. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, he's a great player, but I just think the way he batted the other day, and I think it was Simon Dole who was saying about his eye issues, and he seemed to suggest that they got a bit worse. So, yeah, I don't know. I could see Ross Taylor calling it quits. I think if I could see him retiring at the end of the World Test Championship.
Yeah,
I think New Zealand win that, I could see him retiring.
Yeah. You're going to get yourself up again for another World Test Championship defence. Do you know what I mean? 3 years? I don't think so.
Yeah, let the new guard come in, Let the new guard come in.
Exactly.
But what a player, by the way. What a player.
No, absolutely. At times he's been destructive. I mean, he's had a very interesting career I remember losing the captaincy to McCullum. That was the way it was handled was not very good, but he's a couple of years ago now. He carried on and acquitted himself very well, to carry on. So, but going over to England, Joe, obviously Ollie Robinson's not playing. We know he's suspended pending an investigation. So, do we see a spinner coming into the attack?
Yeah, I think we do. Edgbaston. And I don't really know why, but Don West has been added to the squad.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I can only assume he's going to play, because why else add him?
I don't think so. I think he says cover if anything happens with Leach in terms of any illness or injuries.
Oh, so does he have to be in the bubble then? Is that why?
Yeah, because because it's hard to get people in the last minute from county cricket, so that's what needs to be said.
Right, fair enough. Okay,
I think.
But even so, I do think Don Best is a wrong choice. I think I would be 100% looking at Matt Parkinson. Not that I'm complaining, because he's available for Lancashire in the T20s, but just in terms of from an England perspective as a backup, I think Parkinson has deserved it more than Best this season. But I could see Leach coming in, to be honest, for Robinson. I think that will happen.
I think Leach will. And
I could see Ollie Stone playing as well, with it being Edgbaston.
From Altwood.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Just as you said earlier, just to protect Maltwood. Obviously, it's at Edgbaston as well, so Stone knows the conditions. It's home ground.
Exactly.
He's done well there this year, or seems to have. So I can see that as those two really being England's only changes.
What about you, Si? What do you think England should do?
Jack Leach should come in because it's Edgbaston, right?
Yeah.
Also, Zach Crawley's averaging around 5, if I'm not wrong, for the last few tests, right? I think he needs to go out for a few tests just to clear his mind. And then I don't know who the exact proper replacements are, but as I've heard, there's this guy called Hasib Hamid. He played against India, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was he played quite decent knocks, right?
Yeah.
I feel
We got him through the broken hand.
That's someone who can bat with an injury, so get him
Sam
in.
Billings also there as well. Sam Billings in the squad.
To be honest, I would love to see Sam Billings play. I would love to see Sam Billings bat 7 and Bracey go up to 3, and Billings can take the gloves. There's no pressure on Bracey with his keeping. He can just play as he normally does. And I do think Crawley's an opener. I don't think I would drop Sibley. Personally, I would drop Sibley as well. I'll put Crawley up to open. I'll put Bracey at 3 and bring Billings in to about 7.
But Sibley's scored a 16 You don't want to drop Sibley.
Exactly,
now.
that's what I'm saying. Also, they're Edgbaston, so again, home ground.
It's his home ground, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a slight problem with the England opening thing. Don't mind me, but those two are very ugly players. Like, their stances are too ugly for some reason.
Yeah, you need to watch highlights of Hamid, and then you'll be thinking the opposite.
He's very textbook correct.
I imagine someone like an Alistair Cook up there. Not Dominic Sibley with his whatever he does. Yeah,
I think it's an evolution. It's almost like an evolution of English cricket because, I mean, especially my era, like growing up in the 90s, watching cricket, it's all very much about, orthodox and similarity and technique and just prim and proper cricket, how it's played. The likes of Murray just cause us fit mentally and physically. The idea of someone could bowl like this way, or even a Malinga, is just not done in England. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we had likes to be like Gladstone Small. They had a neck, but but unorthodox actions wasn't really a thing you saw in English cricket side, growing up. And I think now you'll see like Sibley, Rory Burns, a very unorthodox technique. Quite,
he looks there and then.
Yeah, it's just a tick. It's almost like a tick he's got, But I personally do not care about the optics if they score runs. I'm just not bothered. If they could bat like Babar Azam, Forward Alam, who cares? If that makes runs, why do we care? Do you know what I mean?
Nice if they could all bat like Babar Azam.
God, yeah, that'd be nice. But so you think maybe it's the 2 changes? Robinson out. Well, I think definitely Robbins obviously goes for Leach. I think they'll keep the same batting order and just say go again. Personally, but maybe only Stone for Wood.
I do think Brace is not set up to fail. But
however, in that whole batting lineup, you cannot really chase a big target with that lineup because you don't have someone like a Butler or Stokes, right?
Or a Bairstow in there. Yeah. That's who.
Okay. That's who. Yeah, so kind of like that. Do they have one high strike rate player in their squad? I don't think so.
Ollie Pope can. But that thing, Sam Billings is the man.
Yeah.
In that case,
it would be wise to bring him in if you want to chase a target. For example, if you are batting in the 4th innings, if you want to chase a target, then maybe bring Sam Billings in.
Yeah, I mean, Ollie Pope is, to me, question marks. I don't give a damn. I say he's another guy. It's all very well perform well in kind of cricket, just like James Vince has for a number of years. But the reality is, you've got to do it with the 3 lines if you're going to be considered such a great player. Because the thing is, what those with Ollie Pope is like, he's touted so highly, and I get to a certain extent why. But at some point, the guy's got to start to deliver. He's averaging 31 as well, and he's not like he's batting in the top order. He's borderline.
He's not facing the new ball.
He's borderline hiding at 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I definitely want to see more from him.
Just get Jordan Clark in there.
He's been superb. With the ball this year for us, he's been excellent.
Yeah. Still got it like Son.
We brought in him as a long-term replacement for Clark. The 2 Clarks are playing together.
I know.
There's Clark.
Get him in there. back in England.
Clark's 40 years old. You know what I mean? Like, but Jordan Clark has done really well this year with the ball. Sorry, I have to say, you have averaging 26 with the ball. He's been excellent. But anyway, so before we wrap it up, guys, do you want to just give you your predictions for this test?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll say New Zealand win.
So
I'm not very optimistic.
1-0 England.
I'm going to go 1-0 New Zealand. I said to be 1-0 New Zealand this series, the last show.
So you're sticking with it?
I'm sticking with it. I think New Zealand win.
The only reason I say that is I want New Zealand to win the World Test Championships. So, like, I don't want England to lose, but like you said earlier, it'd be good momentum for New Zealand. So, I do want New Zealand. New Zealand, you can't really hate New Zealand. I don't know anyone who doesn't like New Zealand. Maybe other than Australia.
Is that cliche? It's like the Arsenal of cricket, because there's people like them, like neutral like them, but
Arsenal are 8th. Arsenal are 8th. New Zealand aren't.
Yeah, New Zealand. New Zealand are the best in the world, or second best wherever.
I think after what happened 2 years ago, I think people would like New Zealand to win. After what happened last time in England, so I would like. But Si, we'll do a show with you and Krishna and the DT and those guys, man, for the World Touch Championship. We've got to do a show with you lot, previewing that match, because it's going to be a really good one. So I'll leave it there, guys. Si, quickly, where can we find you, man?
You can find me on Instagram at Pastionut and on Twitter at the Jaffa Merchant.
The Jaffa Merchant.
Yep.
All right, Joe.
Two very contrasting.
I think he realised maybe Bushernot's not the best handle for every social media, so he can be a bit more correct on Twitter. Joe, how about you, man?
He's on the screen there. Twitter at Miltsy99. So follow me if you want.
Also, the better part of the Counts Cricket podcast, as you always know. So,
go listen to the Counts Cricket podcast as well. Just literally type it in on Spotify. Or wherever you listen to your podcast, and it'll hopefully be on there. That's about it.
And Joe's also doing a footy website now.
Yeah, go and read that if you would like to as well. That'd be good. All feedback would appreciate on that.
That's called the Head Scout.
The Head Scout. So there's a link in my Twitter bios. You'll be able to find it there.
Yeah, covering under 23 footballers. So go and check it out. So yeah, all right, awesome. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. I think Will might be here at the moment. Couple of comments, but yeah, thanks very much. We'll see you on the review of the second test in about a week's time. Take care. See you next time. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.